Hello, true believers. This is the first episode of we do the new reviews, but we call this the Heroes for Hire Comic Club Retro Comic Reviews, and we're going to be reviewing G.I. Joe issue 1. This is the facsimile. Jeff's got the compendium, and here's the actual. He's got the big boy. This is the actual real McCoy, and Jeff's got one too.
There's my real McCoy.
No G.I. Joe fan would be without. No true G.I. Joe comic book fan would be without this in their collection. It took me a while to get it back. I had it when I was a kid, but for the purpose of this show, we're not going to be taking this out of the bag and board because this is going to be graded at some point. But I do have the skybound facsimile. Like I said, Jeff had the compendium. Of course, one thing that sticks out with me is that the back of it, we got, they've already got ads on it. They're really pushing the toys. There's the Mobat or the G.I. Joe multi-ordnance battle tank. And if you look on the inside, there's the, I guess I should have made myself bigger. There's the Mobat. And you got Stiller down there. He's the driver of the Mobat. Then inside, we got Vamp. Vehicle attack multi-purpose.
Vamp had a little role in issue 1.
Yeah, Vamp and the Mobat was in here a little bit too. And also another one of the toys, the Rocket Hang Glider and the Rocket Pack was a toy. I remember there was like a little launch pad.
Yeah.
The Rocket Pack. And but this story was written by Larry Hama. The cover is by Herb Trimpe and it's inked by Bob McLeod. Herb Trimpe's no longer with us. But it was written by Larry Hama. The letterer was Jim Novak. Colors was Glynis Wein. The editor at the time was Tom DeFalco. And the editor-in-chief of Marvel at this time, of course, was the legendary late, great Jim Shooter. Some people would say notorious, but I kind of liked him. But anyway, we're going to go a little background. I want to do a little background on Larry Hama and the G.I. Joe toy line. So let me, this might be a more in-depth kind of deep dive video. Now when we did the Spirits of Violence, we were just trying to tell everybody about, what was going on in the story. But we want to have a little background here. This is it's American media franchise and line of action figures owned and produced by the toy company Hasbro. Of course, it really came out first was the 12-inch figures in 1963. And they were developed by Stanley Weston, a Manhattan licensing agent. Weston made rudimentary prototypes of the figure and basic market materials that showed the sales potential of a military action figure. When he showed these materials to Donald Levine at Hasbro, Levine told Weston, "You will make a fortune with these." Boy, they're not wrong. Weston subsequently licensed the entire concept for Hasbro for $100,000. That's pretty low. Even for back then, considering what. So from 1964 to 1969, they were called America's Immovable Fighting Man. The conventional marketing wisdom of the early 60s was that boys would not play with dolls and parents would not buy their sons dolls, which have been traditionally a girl's toy. Thus, the word doll was never used by Hasbro or anyone involved in the development of marketing G.I. Joe. They called it an action figure. That was the only acceptable term they would use, and has since become the generic description for any posable figure intended for boys. And I've had that. I remember when I was a kid, my papa would be like, "Are you playing with your dolls?" I was like, "They're not dolls, Papa. They're action figures." And he also called him my play pretties because he's an old country guy, Okay, then they switched in the 70 to 76 with the Adventure Team. And that was when they had Action Man. And sometimes you would have like a guy that was like an alligator, like Wrangler or something. I remember these toys that my older cousins had. And they had like different adventures for like Safari G.I. Joe, Safari Action Man. Well, then kind of the toy line kind of died down. But then Hasbro, because also we can't speak about this the other G.I. Joe series, 3 1/4 inch ones that came out, without mentioning Kenner. Kenner Toys at this time in the late 70s, when Star Wars blew up, in between Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, they released the Star Wars action figure toy line. They were 3¼ inch, of course. So that's what they were kind of switching to. Remember they had the big Mingos and all that stuff, and they were like bigger, like dolls, like the G.I. Joe was a 12-inch doll or action figure. And so then when they saw Kenner move to this, they're like, well, we need to like jump on this bandwagon, right? So also the one thing about G.I. Joe action figures that far surpasses Star Wars action figures. Yes, I said it, Star Wars fans. I went there because you could actually bend their knees, their arms. They got kung fu grip, and you can put backpacks on their back. And they're pretty awesome.
GI Joe arms could do that.
Yeah, we could do this.
Kenner arms could only do that.
That's right. They can only go like this. The legs could only go like that too. So
yeah,
I think they're far superior for like playability because you can.
Articulations.
Articulation straight up. It's the first time it really started having manipulation like that because they really didn't do that a lot with stuff, but it was like a kind of a new thing. Okay, I'll continue reading a little bit. For the first 10 years, G.I. Joe was a generic soldier adventurer, but then they went after and failed to bid purchase the toy rights to $6 million Man. Hasbro issued a bionic warrior figure called Mike Power and Atomic Man. And there's
I don't even remember that shit.
I don't either. This is before our time, but that's Atomic Man. There's the logo, and there's like the original 12-inch. They all came with little dog tags and clothes. You could change you could get different outfits for your guy. Now let's see if we can find the history of the 3/4 inch. In 1982. Saw the highly successful relaunch of G.I. Joe product line in a smaller 3/4 inch scale. The scale was the same scale as Kenner's Star Wars figures, like we said, but with many more points of articulation, much like the 1970s Migos Micronauts toy line, which came first. But yeah, so Micronauts, okay, they were the first one to have more articulation. This relaunch pioneered several tactics in toy marketing, combining traditional advertising with an animated television miniseries and an ongoing comic book series, which is what we're going to be reviewing today. The decision to use a smaller 3/4 inch scale figure also made it possible for Hasbro to produce a variety of matching vehicles and play sets that further expanded the appeal and commercial potential of the line. And as a toy creator, you know what? Think of that as a marketing standpoint. That's genius, right? Because you got even more things you can do. And then they also went on a full press, because back then we had the Saturday morning cartoons, and basically they were just an excuse for toy companies to play ads and market it to us children at the time. And then FCC kind of went away with that because they're a bunch of commies. But it's the way it goes, I guess. But anyway,
when they switched to 3 3/4 inches, that shrinks the figure down to about that. So now it doesn't cost a fortune to make vehicles for them.
And it says here by 1985, both Toy and Lamp and Hobby World magazine had ranked G.I. Joe as the top-selling American toy in the United States.
Yep.
The line was canceled at the end of 1994. They kind of got overbloated. That was the 30th anniversary of G.I. Joe, and accordingly, Hasbro released a series of 12-inch and 3/4 inch figures based on the original Action Team figures from 1964. Of course, they have since then came back out. They've been re-released. They have re-releases. They have the G.I. Joe Classified. You have the high-end HasLab, which is bringing back
I'll grab a couple.
All right. Mine are kind of put up where I would grab them. But the HasLab released a few things. And we'll wait for him to get back because we will talk about Larry Hama after he shows these figures. I'll switch him over here. But anyway, so like HasLab has the high-end stuff. I don't know if I can find it. I'll try to find one for you guys. Hold on.
So here's the Hasbro classifieds. Storm Shadow.
Well, they're 6-inch figure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. and they have I have the Storm Shadow and I have the Battle
Yeah.
Android Trooper. But I stopped there because I knew where it was headed.
Well, I wish I was that smart,
And
but there's also the Super 7 ones too. Have you seen those?
this one's like I think this is might be a Kickstarter type
Oh,
thing. It has both Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, but I've never opened it, so I
if
don't.
you ever sell it, let me know.
Yeah, I don't know if you could tell it's never been
Yeah,
opened.
it's got like you can open. I think you can cut that part and then open it up and see like inside of it, maybe. But I would just keep
Yeah,
it
I
sealed.
don't know.
You could
Yeah, I'm
probably
not
resell
messing
it.
with it. But
All
I
right.
mean, these aren't super expensive or anything.
No, they're pretty affordable. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, I got a dusty one that the Vox gave me
Yeah.
because Vox is a good guy. You know, he likes to hook his friends up. Um, okay, now I'm going to share this. This is what I was talking about the G.I. Joe Classified HasLab.
Yeah.
They have look at this. See, these are like deluxe editions of like the
Yes.
hits. You know, you got Crazy Legs, who was a favorite of mine. We got Zap. Oh, look at the new Zap. And you know, that goes on, but they have like look here. I need this vinyl LP, Jeff. Oh my God. They know how to market to us, don't they?
How
I mean, you know,
how tall are those figures?
those are 6-inch figures, and there's the
Okay.
Cold Slither one, which I want to get. I've been hitting around, you know,
Dude,
and
check out
here's
that Snowcat.
yeah, the Snowcat. Now here's what I'm talking about. The more high end, they actually light up and stuff like that. It's really amazing. But we'll play this video.
Look, they're in the snow. Cobra troops. Get the Snowcat and get the Joes aboard.
This is the old commercial, but now watch this.
Is this thing on? Citizens of Earth, this is Cobra Commander with a very important message. My agents have uncovered credible intelligence that G.I. Joe has commissioned HasLab to develop a classified series 6-inch scale snow cat.
6-6 scale, by the way.
As part
Yeah.
of their quest, stick their noses in all corners of the globe as a
Hell yeah.
concerned humanitarian. I implore you, whatever you do, don't support their shenanigans! They need your help to provide the 8,000 backer orders that would get you your very own Snowcat, along with an action figure of new recruit Farley Frostbite Seward in full Arctic gear. What kind of a name is Farley, anyway? Farley? Am I right, Mr. Seward? Just look at this thing. Do they truly need such powerful
Well, you get the idea. I'm afraid to keep playing this. But see, look at this thing. You see how much more detailed it is? You have to pay $324 for it.
Yeah.
It's got lights on it. You know, I mean, everything. It's got all the bells and whistles. This is for like the more high-end collector, Jeff, which, you know, I would have to look and see all the panels light up. This is like high-end stuff.
Man, if I had the dough, I'd have it.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I'd have a whole room full of these things. The Sky Striker is amazing too, and like you know, it's got some great like features to it. But anyway, you get the general idea, guys. It's come to that now that they're marketing more to you know people like our age that have well, some
A
of
little
them
bit
have
of
more
money.
income than we do. But
Yeah.
you know, of course, if we did collect comics, we could probably afford to get something like that every now and then. But I really can't. And of course, there was the cartoon. There you go. There's the cartoon. And okay, now we're going to do a little background. Before we get on the background of Larry Hama, see, the reason Larry Hama got involved with this because he was wanting to do a Nick Fury series, kind of like a new like Howling Commandos kind of thing, you know, like a Nick Fury Special Forces unit type thing. Well, that got kind of like then Hasbro approached Jim Shooter and Marvel Comics and said, "Look, we got this new toy line coming out. We're going to do 3/4-inch G.I. Joe to compete with Star Wars, and we would like to do it." So they went like full press court on this marketing campaign. They want to do comics and cartoons. They were going to have commercials, you know, the whole nine, and they wanted in the action figures. So Larry Hama's like, okay. he said, well, instead of doing the Fury, we'll do this. And I don't know if a lot of people, most people in our circles that collect G.I. Joe toys and stuff will know that Larry Hama wrote all the file cards that are on the back of the cards that you bought the figures in. Like here's Scarlet. She was covert counterintelligence. Her name was Shauna O'Hara. It's even got their serial number. I used to cut these out. I had a whole little box of them, Jeff.
Yeah, me too.
And Larry Hama wrote all this. Like Scarlett's father and three brothers were martial arts instructors. She began her training at the age of 9. And then we got, here's one for the Vamp driver, Clutch, one of my favorite. He's from Asbury Park, New Jersey. Shout out to Bruce Springsteen, I guess. And here's Cobra Commander. This is the one where he's got his battle armor helmet on. And, of course, the lovely but deadly Baroness.
I don't know. These must be from like a joke or something because it says Cobra token female. Plus the typeset's not right.
Well, that one's a joke. But I doubt that one. This one's real.
Yeah.
This is Stalker. His name was Lonzo Wilkinson.
Yep.
He was in infantry, Detroit, Michigan. Yeah, this one is like, she was a token Cobra, but all right. I'm deleting that one. That is kind of funny, though. I have to admit. Then we got the laser rifle trooper played by Flash. He was from Lodi, California.
Hey!
It even has their rank, Jeff. See, he was an E4.
Yeah.
Scarlett's an E5.
That's funny. I never noticed that he's from Lodi because I live about 30 minutes from Lodi.
Isn't there a song about that by Creedence Clearwater Revival?
Yeah. Lodi is a small little rural, winemaker's town. It's a bunch of grape vineyards, but it's got CCR sings about it, and apparently Flash is from there.
Well, also it has a little thing at the bottom, it tells you a little bit about it. Like Scarlet is competent, resilient. It's remarkable that a person so deadly can still retain a sense of humor. And in the Clutch, we have he greases his hair with motor oil and chews on the same toothpick for months. And Clutch still calls women chicks. I do too, actually. This is about Stalker. It says functions well under high stress situations. Intelligent, perceptive, moves like sort of a jungle cat, silent, fast, and strong. So he's an E5. He's an E4. So Scarlet and Stalker outrank him. Then we have Cover Girl, the Wolverine driver. She was a model. I think she was a high fashion model in Chicago, New York prior to enlistment. And she grew delusional with modeling and enlisted to put new direction in her life. Attended armor school at Fort Knox, Kentucky. She's from Peoria, Illinois. She is a E4 specialist. And then we have the badass of all of them. He's an E5. Snake Eyes, Commando, file name, classified. Yeah. See, that's what I always liked about him. He was very mysterious, right? Yeah. He was proficient in 12 different unarmed fighting systems. Also,
he's all black.
Another interesting thing that was added to this. Here's just the standard Cobra enemy.
Yeah.
One of the nameless, faceless legions. And then we have, there's Grunt. He's an E4. He's from Columbus, Ohio. I have friends in Columbus, Ohio. So, of course, the Grunt would be from some middle America place like Columbus, Ohio.
Yep. Anything to get out of town.
Yeah, he had to get out of town. He got a girl pregnant and
tired of his alcoholic father beating him every day.
Yeah. So here we go. The one, the only Larry Hama. He was born June 7, 1949. He's a comic book writer, artist, actor, and musician. So he's a jack of all trades. He has worked in the fields of entertainment and publishing since the 60s. During the 70s, some people might not know this, he was seen in minor roles on TV shows such as MASH and Saturday Night Live, and he appeared on Broadway in 2 roles in the original 1976 production of Stephen Sondheim's Pacific Overtures. But of course, the reason we're here today, he is best known to American comic book readers as writer and editor for Marvel Comics. He wrote the licensed comic book series G.I. Joe, a real American hero, based on the Hasbro toy line. He's also written for the series Wolverine, Nth Man, The Ultimate Ninja, and Elektra. Also, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but he co-created the character Bucky O'Hare which was developed into a comic book and toy line and television cartoon. In October 2024, Larry Hama was inducted into the Harvey Awards Hall of Fame. And the Harvey Awards is an award given out. It's named for Harvey Kurtzman. The Harvey Awards were founded by Gary Groth in 1988. And the photograph is to be successful to the Kirby Awards, which were discontinued in 1987, which is a shame. Well, they should have just kept the Kirby Awards going on. But anyway, we got he was born in 1949. He studied Kodokan Judo and later studied Kaubo Japanese archery and Leido Japanese martial arts swordsmanship. Damn. He planned on becoming a painter. Hama attended Manhattan's High School of Art and Design, where one instructor was former EC Comics artist Bernard Kriegstein. He was in the same graduating class as Frank Bruner and Ralph Reese. Hama sold his first comic work to the fantasy film magazine Castle of Frankenstein when he was 16 years old, and he followed by collaborating with Bob Stewart on pages for the underground tabloid Gothic Blimp Works. And that is it right there. That's a picture of it. It's one of those underground comics. After high school, Hama took a job drawing shoes for catalogs. But then he served in the United States Army from 1969 to 1971 during the Vietnam War, where he became a firearms and explosive ordnance expert. Hama's experiences in Vietnam informed his editing of the 1986-93 Marvel comic series, The Nam. And also, you could say he also used it in his background with G.I. Joe.
Absolutely.
So
dude, all the stuff he wrote on those classified cards on the back of the action figures. That's all like legit military terminology.
So yeah, exactly. And what we're talking here is also like when he wrote this, originally he pitched a Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. spin-off series called Fury Force about a special mission force. How he used, but then he used this concept as the backstory for G.I. Joe. He included military terms and strategies, Eastern philosophy, martial arts, and historical references. And also, he's a Vietnam veteran, so a lot of these characters when this came out, Stalker, Snake Eyes, and Storm Shadow, and a few others were Vietnam veterans. They had served in Vietnam, and that's how Snake Eyes got disfigured. He also wrote the majority of G.I. Joe action figure file cards, short biographical sketches designed to be clipped from the G.I. Joe and Cobra cardboard packaging, which was a brilliant idea because it made kids want to collect them, Hama said in 1986 that G.I. Joe had an unexpected female following due to such strong female characters as Cover Girl, Lady J, and Scarlet. Yeah, that's probably, I can see that. Most of the girls that write in with letters to the comics say that the reason they like comics is that the women characters are simply part of the team. And that is true because, in the military, everybody's treated equally, right? They're supposed to be, right, Jeff? And you got this special, and also, but it was never heard of back then. You didn't have girls that were on special units. But in this one, Scarlet is a shot caller. You know what I'm saying? She's like she's one of the leaders in the field, and you'll see that in this issue. In a couple, even the backup issue where they're in the desert.
Yeah, she straight up threatens rock and roll and threatens Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, you gotta get the mission done or I'll pop a cap in your ass.
So anyway, that's a little background on Larry Hama. I guess we don't have to really show anything else. If you're curious, if you not know what he looks like, here he is. This is a man of many interests too. He's in the martial arts. The man's been in the military. He's been an actor. He plays music, and he's a writer, and he's also an artist. He doesn't. A lot of people don't give him as much credit for that, but he has done some artwork. So yeah, and here he is at a convention. I'm really hoping, Jeff. I hope he's at Heroes Con. I'm going to probably creep him out, and I'll probably have a restraining order put against me after the end of Heroes Con, but it's okay. Anyway,
that'd be a treat if he was there.
It would be awesome. I would love to get my issue 1 signed by him sometime. And if it has to be like a CDC signing, I'm willing to do it. Another cool thing though is this one, like you'll see like the introduction here, like we'll just briefly talk about this one. He's like, they're talking about like here's an interesting thing, like when they're told that this doctor, Dr. Adele Burkhart, right? She's a nuclear physicist, and she had helped create this doomsday device, and half the country hates her, and half the country they say wants her to be president, right? That kind of sounds about like nowadays. He says, no,
It's
like,
this thing's goofy because I don't know if you wanted to read all the word bubbles, but I'll break it down. Basically, this Dr. Burkhart has developed a nuclear weapon retaliation. It's a
that
nuclear
blows up the
retaliation
entire
weapon.
world.
So if we're attacked by nuclear weapons, her weapon destroys all life on Earth.
Yeah,
That's the doomsday retaliation weapon.
it's a very comic booky thing.
Yeah, it's a comic book type thing.
But
So
I like
G.I. Joe has to make sure that she's kept safe and out of the hands of bad guys.
also, but I like this right here. How can the right Scarlet asks Hawk, how can the rights of an individual compare to the safety of the entire world? Wouldn't a B-52 bombing raid solve this problem with less risk? Scar's just ready to bomb the whole place and kill her.
Yeah.
He says, no, we're the good guys, remember? The island has a civilian population. Besides, it's not our job to judge Dr. Burkhart. They go, well, what is our job? And Hawk kind of says that the truth, and Larry Hama probably knows this from his military service.
Yeah.
Hawk says, we're soldiers. Our job is to follow orders, to do the impossible and make it look easy. So you're always saying that they're like the special mission force. Of course, here's the cover of the book again. You know, it says the blockbuster first issue. Let me bring that back up. Blockbuster first issue, the ultimate weapon of democracy. Introducing America's sensational new special missions forces for the 1980s. And so we open up the story. It's called Operation. The title of this story is called Operation Lady Doomsday. So Lady Doomsday, also it mentioned they're talking about Dr. Adele Burkhart. So when we open the story up, Dr. Adele Burkhart is being guarded by a bunch of soldiers on an Amtrak train, and she's doing a press conference on the train while it's moving, right? Yeah. So she's talking to these reporters, and she's like, I was deliberately misled as the true nature of their project, about her doomsday project. So she's doing the politician thing. She's like, I had no idea. I was just following orders. Then all of a sudden, I guess I'll hold this up here. It's probably easier for me to hold this up than it would be that compendium.
Yeah.
The Cobras come in to attack, and they're saying, we're going to take out the soldiers, right? And Baroness will get the hostage. And then we find out that she's disguised as one of the reporters, and one of her agents is in there. And and Baroness has some crazy dialogue. She goes, all right, I've got your precious Dr. Burkhart. Now back off, or I'll turn her face into a fine red mist.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know what? This is supposed to be for kids, right?
Yeah, this ain't really
details, right?
Yeah.
And see, you'll see this is different from the cartoon. It's like, you know, nobody in the cartoon dies. When a plane gets shot down, you see a parachute immediately, or they land in a tree somewhere.
Yep.
And then Dr. Burkhart says to her, do as she says. It's obvious they only want me. I'll not have any more innocent bloodshed on my account. And then Baroness says, shut up. You're making my trigger finger itch. So then Baroness hooks her into this like helium balloon thing, right? Like a backpack. And they jump out and it shoots them up in the air, which is kind of reminiscent of something the CIA used to use to get men out of sticky situations called a skyhook. You may have seen it in The Dark Knight. Remember The Dark Knight? He used that skyhook to get what's his name out of China. So anyway, they hook up with a helicopter, and then we cut to the Pentagon. And So they say Burkhardt is in the hands of Cobra Command. And you see a letter that says, try to rescue her and she dies, Cobra.
Yeah.
So then we get some background on Cobras. They have the technology and they will use it. The threat doesn't make any sense, sir. Hawk says we better opt national security wise if we attempt to rescue and bungle it and Cobra terminates her. Don't believe it, General Flagg. We're in a double bind here. We can't let Cobra keep her long enough to use her, and we can't let her die because the whole world knows that we consider her. I don't get that though. So that's my first problem here. We can't let her get killed by Cobra, but we can't let her die because the world knows that we consider her an embarrassment. If she's considered an embarrassment, why don't you just let her get shot?
Yeah.
Our only possible
But it's a reflection on them that they can't do their job.
Also, do you think Larry Hama I've been writing about because Hawk says something about if we attempt a rescue and bungle it? Doesn't it remind you of something that happened when Carter was president? When we went in there to get the Iranian hostages back, and it got screwed up, and somehow Carter got all the blame for it, even though behind the scenes Carter's the one that got them back, but then Reagan got all the credit for it. So that's kind of how it is, though. When you get out of office, nobody gives you credit for anything. Yeah. But anyway, I'm not saying he was a great president or anything, but anyway, you see like a picture of them at they show a picture of Cobra, like it's some kind of like it looks like a Nazi parade or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, so these guys are bad dudes apparently, and we finally get a peek at who this guy's talking to. They're talking to these commanders, and you hear the lady say, I got this brought up here because it's our background, and I will show it. She says, I've got the basic readout standings on the display board, sir. Complete service records can be available on a printout within 10 seconds. Because he says, we'll have to call in a special counter-terrorist group. He says, we'll have to call in special counter-terrorist group, Delta, codename G.I. Joe. So they're basically like Delta Force. These guys are like the best of the best. And the one thing about G.I. Joe is they're not just Army. It's Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, Special Forces. They all come together, different fields of expertise. And then he goes, who's going to honcho this mission in the field? And this is when we get our first introduction to Colonel Clayton M. Abernathy, codename Hawk. He says he's the best man we have. And the guy says, yes, but how lucky is he? So then we cut away to Fort Wadsworth at the Chaplain's Assistance Motor Pool, a.k.a. the Pit. That is G.I. Joe's base. See, it looks like a Chaplain's Assistant Motor Pool. I didn't know the Chaplain's Assistant needed his own motor pool, but apparently in the Army they have to. Because it's not the Chaplain Assistant's motor pool at all. It's just the front. For this place, it's called the Pit. It's 5 stories deep underground, heavily fortified bunker. You got all of the latest G.I. Joe technology. They have like the best of the best. These guys are the best of the best. They get all the best equipment. So anyway, so you see them pulling up to the HQ company motor pool.
Hey, did they have this? Did they have this in the reprint?
No, it's not in there.
How?
Yeah, I don't think that was in there.
Okay.
I didn't see it. I might have skimmed past it and not seen it, but I don't think it was in here. Although the one thing about this reprint, it's on newsstand. It's on newsprint.
Yeah.
It's really great. It kind of gave me that, like, nostalgic feel. Anyway, so they show up at the motor pool, and Rock and Roll's like, "Hey, it's time you threw a surprise inspection." He's like, "Negative, Rock and Roll. We've been called together for another mission, so it's time. It's go time, guys." Yeah. So you go down here, and there's some crazy shit going on down here, though.
Yeah.
But they go down to where they're doing weapons training, and there's a guy floating around in a bubble thing. You got people doing hand-to-hand combat, target practice, and then we start. This is the first time we hear of a place called Cobra Island, which is something that comes back in this comic book series a lot. So anyway, they go to HQ briefing, And so here's where you start getting a little techno stuff in here. Like he tells them to go to the briefing room, and then he talks about, they're like, okay, they're talking about this place is like, okay, it gets a little sci-fi because he says, here's a shot of their high resolution hologram. So anyway, they're showing this high resolution hologram of Cobra Island, and he's talking about what they got. He says there's a pulse Doppler radar on this mountain that can spot a hang glider clear to the horizon. So that's the first time we get a little technology, a little lingo in here. So this island does have civilians on it. And this is where we get into that thing about like, well, should we go rescue or not? And you get this thing. It's like, and this is the only known photograph of Cobra Commander we have, right there. Yeah. And I wish we had an overhead view of this, but anyway. So we cut to Cobra Island. Barrett's looking kind of hot here, by the way. You got that come hither look. Anyway, even though she's really evil, and you get a guy he's giving his heart out to Cobra there, so it's kind of like they're kind of hinting that these guys are kind of like Nazis.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, he says, I'm going to get this information from you. And Cobra seems to feel like he's got it all figured out when they say, the radar has spotted a submarine on the surface 20 miles north of the island, sir. Excellent. Dispatch 2 heavy weapons platoons to cover the North Beach. And on their way, they can stop at the fishing village. We'll get back to that later because in this series, people actually die. It's not like the cartoon at all.
Right.
So anyway, we have a unit here. It looks like it's Stalker, Grunt. No, it's not Grunt. It's Stalker, Zap, a few others, Tripwire. I don't know, a lot of them. But anyway, you see the Cobra guys sitting up their heavy weapons and say another 50 yards and they'll be in range. But then you hear him say to Stalker, time for Stalker to put on his rocket in his pocket and crash their bash. I don't know if they really know what. When I think rocket in your pocket, I think of something else. But anyway, Stalker flies over them, drops a bomb on them with his little jetpack down here, and they retreat. And then he comes back down and goes, looks like the party's over, gang. The host took their goodies and went home. I kind of like what Stalker says here, though. He says, don't leave, you'll miss my grand finale. He's talking to the Cobra guys. I whistle stars and stripes forever while using this laser blaster to strafe the beach in time to the kettle drum parts. Anyway, we cut back and the Cobra guys are coming back. And they say, we were outgunned, sir. They had some sort of portable air support. We were completely surprised. And in Cobra Commander, you get a glimpse of how ruthless Cobra Commander truly is, because he says, not as surprised as I hadn't expected any of you to survive this G.I. Joe team. They're less efficient than I thought. So he didn't really care if they ain't going to come back. So he's got a different plan to cook up. He said, we're going to keep our guys here and draw them in, right? They think they've got the upper hand. So then we see that Breaker is going to cut through this
power line.
The power line, the cable, and get into their communication so they can't see what's coming, because they're going to have another heavy assault team show up. And he says, that's okay. Well, that's a 1/4-inch steel pipe. And Cover Girl says, Breaker, no, it's that. Breaker, you may be a whiz with communication equipment, but otherwise you're a real dummy. The cable's inside the pipe. So anyway, they don't have a torch. So here's where we get some more military lingo. He says, what do we do now? There's 1,000 miles from the nearest acetylene torch. You mean you're a special forces unit and you didn't bring a torch to cut through something? Okay. Anyway, he said, I don't even have my P-38, my GI can opener on me. So that's military English. There used to be a little P-38 that come in the MREs. I think it still does. And he used to open cans with them. I have a few of them laying around because my dad was the National Guard in the Marines. So then Zap opens up with his laser. He taps in the community. And also, what we got going on at the same time is Scarlet and Snake Eyes are sneaking into the fort to try to get the doctor out while there's a coordinated strike going on. And we get some more interest in so we get some more talk here. Is there are only 6 men in that team? Do you expect them to spearhead straight through the front door? And the general says, yes, sir. And it's going to be in the assault team is Hawk, Grand Slam, Steeler, Clutch, Zap, and I can't see the other guy's name. But anyway, they're on like a special hydrofoil thing. They take an assault the place. They take out the airfield, but the Cobra commander is telling them that the airfield was kind of that was our little trick, right?
Yeah.
So you see Scarlet and Snake Eyes are sneaking in. They're already in. I guess I better just keep myself big for a minute. I'm going to show you more. Anyway, Baroness is like, "What are you? I don't know what your plans are. You're not even told me." You'd think he would tell her because he's going to use her to dress up as Dr. Burkhart.
Yeah.
And make G.I. Joe think they got the doctor. So the heavy assault team takes off with a little special hydrofoil, and that we get our first look at the MOBAT, or the mobile ordnance battle tank, and the vamp, and the motorcycle that drove by Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
And Rock and Roll jumps this ditch and says, "Get back, Cobra. Rock and Roll is here to stay." And then he also has Clutch is driving the vamp, and he's also carrying that little laser cannon that I used to have. I got it somewhere. It's just broke, but I got it. "Hey, Clutch," he goes, "how is it you always manage to swerve out of the path of artillery shells?" He says, "I'd like to say it's skill and determination, Grand Slam, but it's mostly stark fear and blind luck." Well, that's not reassuring. But anyway, so they find out it's Baroness is impersonating. Now, they don't really explain how Baroness gets away from Stalker, though.
Yeah.
I don't that's kind of so. Anyway, so the doctor, Cobra Commander's going to take the doctor out on a plane. So this is kind of a misdirection. So they get in here. I'm going to kind of speed up, but then Snake Eyes and Scarlet show up, and Cobra Commander's like, "I'll shoot her if you don't drop your weapons." So Scarlet and Snake Eyes drop their weapons, and he's got the whole place wired to blow. Right? He said, "As soon as they come, we're going to blow the whole fort up." Right? So anyway, Scarlet gets out her ninja star. She's not completely disarmed, and she hits Cobra in the arm, the hand, and knocks the gun away. But then the doctor jumps in front of the gun and gets shot, but she gets shot in the arm.
Yeah.
So she says, "You could have left." The doctor says, "You could have left me to die, but you risked your own life to save mine. I have presumed so many horrible things about you and the Army. I guess I forgot that no one has a monopoly on scruples." So she tells them the timer's set to go off. They load on the helicopter and get out of there.
Yeah.
And then we see the place blow up.
And then Cobra Commander and Baroness escape on their little Jake and the Golden Monkey plane.
Yeah, and he goes, "Yes, this endeavor has ended in failure. We must rest for now." And that is the end of the main story. And then you get this. This is where I got that cool little diagram of the pit.
Yeah, that's the same spot in the compendium too.
Yeah. But then we get into a little short story here, which is actually, I don't know about you, Jeff, but I kind of like Hot Potato better than the main story.
Hot Potato moved quicker.
Yeah, there was not a lot of setup, but you get the setup here, and they're in this somewhere in the Middle East. That's all it says.
Yeah.
And so some of the Joes are dressed up like in their little Arab gear, and so this
they need to get a tape.
Yeah, there's some kind of tape with some intel on it. And Cobra is supporting this guy. His name is if I can find his name. He's bankrolled Colonel Sharif and his fanatical Guardians of Paradise. Yeah. So this is during the Iran-Contra thing. But it's also have its time because we were going to have military presence in the Middle East for years to come in the future. So I think
we already have.
Yeah. But I mean, back then it wasn't as big of a presence as it was, in the 2000s. I mean, but we still have a presence there now, but it's like kind of permanent, unfortunately. So the the writer of this is obviously Larry Hama. The penciler for this story is Don Perlin. Jack Abel's the inker. Rick Parker was the letterer. Glynis Wein was the colorist, and Tom DeFalco was the editor of the story. So anyway, they're talking with Scarlet, Snake Eyes, and Rock and Roll are out there with this unit. They're embedded with like some of the I guess insurgent, right? The rebels or whatever.
Yeah.
And we cut to him, and it's like, well, he says, Scarlet is the senior member of the team. The responsibility for the tape is all on her shoulders. And then we get to Hot Potato, and you see they're already in a sticky situation. The very lovely. I like this. I mean, she is wounded, but she's still pretty hot. I always thought she was cute. But anyway, Scarlet is wounded in the leg. And you hear on the radio, "Do not despair, brother guardians of paradise. Even now, Colonel Sharif himself is leading the reinforcement detachment that will help smite the running dogs of the infidel warmongers." And so Scarlet basically says, "Look, I'm wounded. I can't make it. And you're going to have to leave me." And then Rock and Roll's like, "Oh, hell no." He's like, "What are you talking about, Scarlet? I'm not leaving you, right?" So they get in an argument about it. But then Scarlet.
Well, that's where it gets dark. Scarlet's like, "You are going to."
Yeah. Scarlet basically says, "Snake Eyes will shoot you if you don't go."
Yeah.
Take your gun and take off running for the border. And then she turns her gun on Snake Eyes and says, "You're going. Oh, you're going to have to leave me."
That's what I was talking about. Scarlet got kind of dark.
Yeah, and now the thing is, she gets dark again too. Later, we'll get into that. But also, what we're going to find out later, this is in only the first issue, but this is going to be an ongoing thing. You realize that Scarlet and Snake Eyes have feelings for each other. So Rock and Roll's running with Snake Eyes, and he goes, "I reckon we're about halfway to the border. I hope you know that after I hand this tape over to Hawk, I'm going to put a powerful hurting on you." And because he says, "I used to think you had some feelings for Scarlet. I must have been wrong." But he turns around, Snake Eyes is gone. Snake Eyes has went back.
Yeah.
So he continues running, and then we go back to Scarlet, and she's basically on her Alamo, her last stand here. She's
Then she even goes, "Well, I'm down to my backup weapon, and I only got 2 rounds left."
Yeah,
and
like, I don't save on herself.
Yeah.
Because Snake Eyes comes back. But then we cut back to the border town, and something crashes through the Joes are disguised eating. Something crashes through the window, and they say, "Flat, it's a grenade." And Stalker says, "This is no grenade." And Hawk's like, "It's the tape." What the?
Yeah.
Sounds like someone's starting a motorcycle. And they go outside, and Rock and Roll is hot wired their motorcycle, is taking off to help Scarlet and Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
And then Stalker says, "We wouldn't go back unless Scarlet and Snake Eyes were still alive. We got to go back and help him." And Hawk's like, "No. They put everything on the line to get that tape this far. We can't fumble the page."
Yeah.
And what's his name? Clutch says, "Well, I guess we've got the hot potato." They're it, basically, right? So then you see Sharif's like, "Yeah, we're going to kill these infidels, blah, 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 you know."
Yeah.
And then Rock and Roll's coming back, and then Scarlet says that thing about, "I've been saving 2 shots in my backup piece. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be captured." So
yeah,
Scarlet's pretty dark here. She's hardcore all the way. Anyway, Rock and Roll shows up, gets them out. Then a jet starts coming in and says, "Well, I got him, Colonel. Shall I begin the strafing run?" And then Hawk shows up on the vamp, shoots the jet down.
Yep.
And Scarlet's like, "Where's the hot potato?" "Oh, the tape. Stalker's got it." And then we cut the Stalker on a plane out of town, out of the country. The stewardess says, "What would you like with your steak?" "A potato. Make it real hot." And that's the end of the story. I like the writing. I thought he did good. I mean, just being honest, I like it.
Yeah.
Of course, we're a little bit biased, right? But this is a good start to the G.I. Joe series. We may do issue 2 if you want to at one point.
I'll do any of the G.I. Joe stuff.
We'll
I just like how when you're a kid, like you watch the cartoon, like you said, everybody's always shooting at each other, but nobody dies. And I get it, we're kids. But in the comic book, it had a little bit more of a rough edge, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is kind of cool.
You know what's cool about it too? Larry Hama didn't try to insult our intelligence by thinking nobody died.
Yeah, and you can tell that.
I knew people died in combat. Okay, my dad was in Vietnam. Okay, so
Yeah, and some of the stuff, that situations and decisions that are made and stuff like that. Some of that stuff is like real military stuff. The feeling I get from it.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like sci-fi element to it too, obviously.
Yeah,
But also, I mean, it's a pretty iconic cover, and it's a good start. It just tells you, basically, you get the introduction to G.I. Joe. We know what they're all about. We know what Cobra's all about, and then we get to realize what a badass Scarlet is in the backup issue. So,
as far as I shared a page down there if you want to pull it up. As far as Larry Hama being an artist, he's no slouch, man. I mean, maybe it's kind of hard to see for people because it's small, but I don't know if I can make it any bigger.
well, I can see it.
Let's see here. Let me try. Oh, here we go. I can make it. Is it changing?
Yeah, it's bigger. Oh, wow, that is great.
Yeah. So yeah, he's pretty good pencilist, man.
And I'm surprised he didn't do more art, but I guess when you're busy writing, you can't do all the art too.
Yeah, but he was just a really multi-talented person, disciplined person.
Yeah, I'd really like to. I tell you what would be my dream would be to interview him.
Yeah.
Do like a shout out for my show. Now he's been known to go to Heroes Con. I was told by Legion of Comics it's the only reason he wasn't there last year is because Joe Fest was at the same time. But this year it's not. So I'm hoping he's there. Because I got several issues that I would like signed, including
maybe we should figure out what his like publicist email is or whatever and start begging.
That's actually not a bad idea because I was hoping to get at least 1,000 subs before I asked somebody like that. But you know what? I mean, I'd say the best way to contact a man like that would be through a publicist or something, or his publicist team.
Yeah. Plus, he ain't no spring chicken.
Yeah, I got but maybe it's just a rose color eye, but it's still a pretty well written story for 1982.
Yeah,
it doesn't and also there's a part on Cobra Island when they go into the village, and the Cobra soldiers have killed everybody in the village. By the way, I forgot about that.
Women, children,
and they're even like, we need to bury them. And Stalker's like, we ain't got time for that shit.
Yeah, I remember reading it because by the time I started collecting, G.I. Joe was already on like issue. They were in the teens or the 20s. I can't remember, but I remember I got back. I bought an issue of Tales of G.I. Joe because that had just came out, and I read it and I was like, whoa.
Okay.
Mom comes in here and throws these boxes down. I just got a shipment in. She's like, how do you keep paying for this stuff? I'm like, well, one of them was an AOK, Mom, and the other one was a trade. She goes, oh, okay.
Plus, a lot of them were paid for 2-3 weeks ago because you're just not getting them.
Some of them should have been here like 3 or 4 days ago, but they aren't. Yeah. So we'll do a mail call video after this if you want to be part of that.
Yeah, I'm chilling. Right. I ain't doing nothing.
But anyway, so I guess you could say that me and Jeff really like this one. I give it 2 thumbs up. I guess if you're not a G.I. Joe fan, you're not going to like it. But G.I. Joe,
you know what? My involvement in this is hanging out with my friend Matt talking about G.I. Joe, and I'm involved in this for other G.I. Joe fans. If it creates some new ones, great. But if people are out there going, "Oh my God, G.I. Joe," and they try to like put it up against Frank Miller, Dark Knight, or what's his name, Alan Moore's Watchmen or something.
You're not gonna like what I have to say. I do put it up against that because he got to write this entire series. It wasn't like he showed up writing on issue 20. He started writing this issue 1 and wrote it all the way to the end of issue 155, and then continued it at IDW, Image, and Skybound.
Yeah,
it's up to 300 5 issues will be coming out next. The next one's the 325th issue will come out next month or the month after that. And he
It's his book.
and see, he got the same thing with Chris Claremont. When you get the time to work on the same series, you get to build the mythology, the lore, the background of all these people, and I think it helps the readers get emotionally involved.
Yeah.
Because by the time it got to like the Battle of Cobra Island and issue 70 something, I was all in.
Yeah.
You have these relationships like Scarlet and Snake Eyes are an ongoing thing throughout the series. Now on the cartoon, that's another problem of the cartoon. They kind of had her with Duke kind of had the hots for each other, which I don't think that was the way they should have went. But anyway, Snake Eyes and Scarlet. You got the complicated relationship between Snake Eyes and Storm
I guess
Shadow.
what I'm saying is I'm pretty biased because it's part of my childhood. The comic book is part of my childhood. The action figures are, the movie that came out, all of it. So
Cartoons, all of it. Yeah. And I'm back into getting the toys again. God have mercy on my soul. But like I know some people like Transformers. I like Transformers too. But my main focus of interest is G.I. Joe, even when I comic book collecting. I'm trying to complete the run. I have 109 issues. I'm trying to get all of the original run and the G.I. Joe special missions and the specials. And I even got like the Action Force books. So, if you look at my wall, I got a picture of Snake Eyes on the wall. I got a Snake Eyes action figure over here. I got some more over this cabinet from my good friend Quentin Collins. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video. Please hit the like button, share it. If you don't mind, leave a comment. What do you think of G.I. Joe? Did you grow up reading this like me and Jeff did? Or are you new to it? Or are you indifferent? Or did you watch the cartoon? What are your memories of G.I. Joe?
And if you want to keep your original issues unfinger molested, buy this bad boy.
That's right.
Buy the second one too.
You see, this little baby did not leave the bag and board. I just had this as an example. This is just for show and tell purposes. Yep. So don't everybody freak out because this is the reprint I was manhandling. All right. So anyway.
Yo Joe.
And you know what? I think what we all do when we sign off. Before we sign off, we'll just say this. And now you know about G.I. Joe issue 1.
Now I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe!
Right on.
Until next time, true believers, excel.
Come, son of Jarrell! Kneel before Zod! Snoochie boochies.